I mean, when you think about the ageless body, what would you sort of say if someone was thinking about that? What would you be focusing on? Is it really kind of looking at your internal environment, like I just said? Or is there something more to it? Is there sort of something a bit more holistic about? When I talk about holistic, I'm talking about sort of internal, external, everything.
Yeah, well, aging is one thing. Degenerating is another thing. We want to fight that degeneration process. So it is looking at everything. It's internal and external. It's looking at everything. I mentioned before about chemicals in the air, chemicals in the water, trying to avoid them. What you put in your food, put in your mouth, and what's in the food. The types of foods that you had mentioned for lean cuts, and even just making sure it's a good type of meat, something that's healthy. There's so many different things out there right now. So it's all encompassing. Yes, it is holistic. It's every aspect. It's getting your sleep. It's just doing all the things internal and external to help yourself. I use the example that you ever see a salmon? The salmon swims upstream. That stream is that aging. So we have to constantly swim upstream. It's a constant fight. It's a constant battle, but it can be enjoyable. Find the good and fun in exercise and eating right and spreading that word, being healthy.
Yeah. It is like an uphill struggle sometimes. You're constantly battling. But how does one, would you say, instead of having that fight, but make it much easier? So, because like you say, the salmon, they go that way and it is hard, but they always get on their direction. They always manage to get over that. You see them jumping out of the water and going upstream, like you said, but they still manage it. They still get there. And once they get over that initial, push, they go back upstream relatively easily. How do we get from that being really that struggling point to making it a little bit easier so we start performing better?
What I suggest, and I write about this a lot, is to get yourself a notebook. We're the generation, I know the kids will put it on the cell phone, but 50 and over, we use a notebook and create your goals and then reverse engineer your goals. I want to lose 50 pounds, as an example. And how are you going to do that? I'm going to walk, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. And break it down to the most smallest basic thing where it's like, today, I'm just going to walk around the block. Next week, I'm going to walk around the block twice. Today, I'm just going to go downstairs and do some stretching. Then as you work your way stretching, I'm going to do some little bit of weights. And just create that little step. It's very easy to become overwhelmed. I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to be able to fit in a certain outfit. It's very overwhelming. So you create the small steps, the small goals, and celebrate each of those goals. Happy. Today I walked around the block. I haven't done that in how long? Or I've walked to I actually got underneath the weights and I did a bench press for the first time in 50. Whatever it is, create those small goals. And you take yourself from point A, and today you make that little bit of a change. And as you make that little bit of a change over the course of a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 months, 7 months, you're here where we're going in this direction. And that's how you can do it. Just don't become overwhelmed. And it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You getting healthy, take your time, figure out how to do it right, and just do it, just slowly. And there are times you go off, say someone goes off, they have a holiday or a birthday, and they go off and they eat wrong, they didn't exercise for a couple of days. That's okay. Just get back to your book, see where you left off, and pick up from there. And that's the way. It's easy to become overwhelmed. What you want to do is break it down into the small steps and celebrate those small steps.
Yeah. Do you think that's something, maybe when you're older, you have so many more responsibilities, it's easier to sort of just get overwhelmed with it all. And it's just another thing you have to do. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I mean, mind you, I've been a regular in the gym since I was in my 20s, so it's probably not as hard for me to get back on the wagon, as it were. But I think sometimes you just have so much and you just get so bogged down and tired. And as you're getting older, you naturally, things physically, energetically always can be a little bit more of a struggle if you're not someone who's already fit and healthy. I mean, there's always exceptions to the rules. There's plenty of examples of people, older generation, people who have tons of energy. I've seen some of them myself, but we can get into that maybe a little bit later. But if you are, is that something that maybe is hindering people? Is they get into their head too much and they think, this is something I really need to do, but I'm just so tired. I haven't got any more energy.
Yes, I'm not disqualifying that. Some people have difficult lives. I absolutely agree with that. But finding that path, finding the way to do something, there's been some studies that shown that if you create a habit over 21 days, that habit becomes part of your life. So it's just coming up and forcing that, as myself, as with yourself, exercise is part of our lifestyle. We just make time because it's become part of our DNA. And that's what you want to do is someone who's starting this out. I'm overwhelmed. And what you're going to find if you exercise and eat right and stop eating sugars, you're going to have more energy to do more exercise. It's a positive to get you 22. Whereas you do more and you'll sleep better. So it's going to make that big positive difference once you begin to add that into your life.